By the time we finished and returned back, the sun had started to set. That took quite a while, huh? Yeah, you came first thing in the morning.
We should be back before it gets dark. Come on.
Yamazaki beckoned me to come forward, and just as I was about to rush out of the house, something akin to a moving specter seemed to come from nowhere, and it startled me. I was like, the fact that it's quiet and you're like, we should get back before it gets dark, I'm like, a villain appears, doesn't he? And I'm stuck with Yamazaki. Poor Yamazaki. He's not a fighter, he's a lover. Come on. Yamazaki had only taken a single step when... Oh. Ow.
Gah!
Oh no! Yamazaki! Yamazaki groaned loudly before falling onto the floor. Yamazaki! I ran towards him frantically. What? Kaoru! The villain appears. I stopped dead in my tracks, for someone was near. I couldn't exactly make out the specter because of the sunset's glare, but it was someone whose face was unforgettable. My own. Kaoru, what are you doing here? The protagonist's estranged twin brother. He serves as the head of the Nagamo clan, but carries aspirations to revive the Yukimura clan.
I came to visit my darling sister. What other reason could I have?
Well, you visited, so bye. Don't hit my bean anymore, please. I clasped my hand around the Kadachi on my hip, glaring back at Kaoru's face, whose expression was almost identical to my own. A short sword passed down through generations of the Yukimura clan. Its name is Shotsuren.
What's your problem? You don't have to glare at me like that. I mean, I could have killed him. I did you a favor by only knocking him out, you know.
Fair.
Oh, by the way, how is Okita doing? Has he keeled over yet?
Stop it! Kaoru's eyebrows shot up and his grin widened.
Oh, I'm only kidding. Calm down. You don't have to get all worked up. After all, he's a fury. He wouldn't die that easily. Although, considering how much pain he's in, I'll bet he wishes he was dead.
Kaoru! The angrier I got, the wider his smug grin stretched. Even though I knew it would just rile him up, I couldn't stay calm.
I'm starting to wonder how long Okita will be able to hold on to his sanity. Pretty soon he's gonna want to start drinking blood. The next thing you know, he's killing people in Edo.
No! I won't let that happen to Okita! As long as we have the medicine that Yamazaki and I toiled over, the bloodlust should be suppressed. Nah, girl, give him your blood. It's the only way. There was no way Okita would turn into a beast.
3 guesses as to why the both of you are here. My first, though, will be that you're looking for Old Man Koto's notes on slowing the bloodlust. I have some bad news for you, though. The medicine only works temporarily, and the bloodlust will consume him eventually. So, looks like you both just wasted your time.
I could feel the blood draining from my body. Of course I knew the medicine was only a temporary solution, but...
Wow, I wish you could see the look on your face right now. It's a classic one. You like Okita, don't you? That's why you're going through all this trouble, right? So he'll get better.
As Kaoru rattled off those condescending questions, he still kept the smug expression on his face.
Hey, do you want me to tell you how you could really save him?
My eyes grew wide. This came out of nowhere. Was he trying to play a trick on me? He may have been getting a kick out of trying to fluster me, but even if he were trying to get a rouse from me, I had to hear what he had to say, so I let him continue. Kaoru luckily wasted no time in speaking up.
You just gotta give him some demon blood.
Stronger and more powerful than humans, they have rapid healing powers. Chikage Kazuma, Kyo Shiranui, and Kyuju Amagiri are among their numbers. Okay, so my theory from way back in the first game about, like, demon blood could be the key. That's, like, her blood is the thing that helps them. So I'm glad I was right.
It holds within it powers that aren't present in human blood, and it heals anything you can think of.
Of course, I am just taking Kaoru's word for it, and I can't really trust him as far as I can throw him, but he's kind of chaotic, so maybe you can trust this.
The Furies aren't too far off from us, who belong in a clan of demons, are they? If you spill the blood from your veins with the intention of giving it to one of those fake Furies...
A pejorative term used by demons to refer to Furies. Fake.
Then it may undo the poisonous effects of the water of life. You might be able to save him. Especially for you, a demon who hails from the East region.
A term referring to the eastern coastal region of Japan. Hey, wait! With that, Kaoru smiled dryly, and I called out to him, but he had already disappeared like a shadow into the ether. Thanks for visiting, brother. If what he said were true, then allowing Okita to drink my blood would possibly work as a salve to the water of life's side effects. However, knowing Kaoru, this was all a ploy to get my hopes up. What if, though, what he said was true?
Oh.
Yamazaki regained consciousness, and he slowly gathered himself to gain footing. Are you alright? Poor Yamazaki. I ran up to Yamazaki. How far away were you?
Yeah, I'm fine. Can you tell me what just happened?
Sure. What do you think, Doctor?
I see. So this Kaoru Nagamo told you all of that. Well, let's return back to Okita for now. Dr. Matsumoto is awaiting us back at the hiding spot.
Okay. The sun had completely set, and we were covered by the darkness as we rushed to return for Sendagaya, a clinic located near Edo in which Souji Okita received medical treatment for his respiratory illness on the orders of Dr. Ryojin Matsumoto. However, the entire time we rushed back, I couldn't quite shake what Kaoru had told me. Yeah. Once we'd finally arrived back at the hiding place, we rushed to tell Dr. Matsumoto all that had happened.
I see. This information came from Kaoru Nagamo, did it?
What do you think, Dr. Matsumoto? Do you think if I were to give him my blood that we could curb the effects of the water of life?
It would be risky to take his word at face value. I mean, it's his fault that Okita transformed into a Fury in the first place. Yamazaki brings up a good point. What Kaoru said is unheard of to me. I mean, it's one thing to assume that drinking your blood won't have any effect at all, and another entirely should it prove to worsen his condition. Well, at least for now we have some medicine. This should be enough to last us for a while.
What about Okita?
I know you're worried. But things are going to be tough for him. Now, not only does he have tuberculosis...
Wait, he still has tuberculosis? What the heck is the point of this water of life thing? It's useless.
But since he's become a Fury, it means his body will have even more to try and overcome as his life force depletes. What a predicament. I would love to stay here and help you out, but it is necessary for me to take my leave soon.
Oh, right. Thank you for all of the time you've given us.
It is my pleasure. Please be sure to tell Okita that he needn't exert himself too hard. The same goes for you, too. I'm sure you are tired as well, and you need to make sure you rest.
Okay.
I will walk you out. There are some things I need to discuss with you.
Dr. Matsumoto bowed politely, and Yamazaki escorted him to the entrance. So all this time, I thought Soji's tuberculosis had been cured. But no, he's got that, and he's a Fury. Well, at least Sanon's arm got freaking fixed. So, wait a minute. So, Heisuke was on the verge of death. Like, there was no saving him. Water of life helps with that, but not tuberculosis? Fake Father Kodo, I have questions. He told me I need to make sure I rest, but... Honestly, I don't think I could sleep even if I went into my room with a warm cup of tea. That's pretty bad. My mind immediately jumped to Okita. In Father's notes, it said that a Fury's power was directly tied to the length of their lifespan. If that were true, then he was literally consuming his own life just to heal himself from flesh wounds. I wanted so badly to check on him, even for a second. I was careful to avoid making any peep or noise, and I quietly slid his door open. Huh? I couldn't believe it. Okita wasn't sleeping in his futon, and he was nowhere to be found! Where could he possibly have gone? Just as I scanned the room. Souji, are you on the roof? What's going on? Welcome back, Chizuru. You're dressed! The voice came from next to the door. You're dressed and armed and everything. Look at you looking handsome. Okita, what are you doing? Sleeping all day is such a drag. Okita sneered in his usual derisive tone. Okita? Did you happen to hear any of the conversation we had in the hallway? Well, you tend to notice when people are talking about you, and naturally I was curious. While the length of why can I not say your name? Okita's remaining lifespan was a source of concern. Thankfully, his sardonic wit was intact. And that's all that really matters in the end. Unfortunately, he didn't budge, and his attempt to probe me for answers made me uncomfortable. You know, if I hadn't drank the water of life, I probably would have died that day. So if the choice was between coughing up blood on my bed, or being able to wield my sword again in the future, if you're asking me, seems like the answer's obvious. There was a peaceful twinkle in his eye, as if he had come to terms with his condition and his future. Such certainty felt so unfamiliar to me. Kinda funny to think about, though, isn't it? Gen, who really looked after himself, died in the Battle of Toba Fushimi. Ah, Gen. Captain of the Shinsengumi 6th Division. He is a childhood friend of Kondo's, who became a founder of the Shinsengumi. He lost his life in the Battle of Toba Fushimi. Speaking of the Battle of Toba Fushimi... there we go. A battle that had erupted in early 1868 within Kyoto's Toba and Fushimi districts, waged between imperial and shogunate troops. The shogunate forces were swiftly overpowered and defeated. Then here I am with tuberculosis, and I even drank the water of life, and I'm still kicking around. I'm not sure if I could call it luck, whatever it is. Okita. My heart clenched. He seemed to embrace the fact that his health was wilting, and yet he stood courageously before it. Perhaps it was this attitude all along that had so curiously drawn me to him? I hope it's me. It's what draws me to him, for sure. His attitude's the best. Please don't give up. You are still alive, Okita. Even if he seemed resigned to the fact that he could potentially die in the near future, I didn't want him going anywhere. Of course. There's still so much I have left to do in this world. His complexion still seemed very ill. But even then, Okita possessed within him a fiery vigor. Good. The future was still uncertain, but so long as Okita believed in himself, there was hope. Although we couldn't see into the future, it did nothing to waver his spirit from the dawn of a better day. Okita, please return to your bed. It's not good for you to be standing for too long. Yeah, I know. Man, are you ever gonna loosen up? Just as he began to whine. Oh, not again. Dude! Gah! Okita keeled over and his face twisted in pain. He slammed against the floor as he gasped for air. Okita? I rushed to support his body as he had trouble staying upright. What's wrong? Is it your injuries? Bloodlust? Okita shook his head as he grimaced loudly from whatever had been hurting him. Oh, there he goes. As I watched, his hair turned white and his eyes turned red. That was a nice sound effect, and I like this music. Oh no! He had expressed experiencing some minor pain from using the powers before, but I don't ever recall him becoming a Fury without using those powers consciously. Then it must mean...
It's nothing. It'll pass soon enough.
The way he angrily motioned for me to stay back told me this wasn't the first time he was changing. He almost seemed ready to accept what came next. We did get a glimpse of this in Heisuke's route already, so I know what to do here. Okita, do you... Was this seizure-like episode a symptom of becoming a Fury? Do you want my blood? His eyes grew wide. Not a question you expect to hear from your girlfriend.
No!
His reply was practically a shout, but all the reason to assume that's what he wanted. You're assuming a lot.
Don't want that. I don't need blood. I don't want to go crazy.
His voice shook as he spoke. Whether from pain, fear, or both, I couldn't tell. Both of us saw plenty of Furies go mad with bloodlust. But you're in so much pain.
If I lose, if I go crazy, how am I supposed to help Kondo?
Oh. Okita had drank the water of life to make him a more effective soldier. All he wanted was to help Kondo. If he lost himself in the bloodlust, he would be denied that one desire. So... How long have you been doing this? How horrible. To be all alone, tormented by pain so great that even breathing was agony.
I'm fine. I can handle this. I'm Kondo's disciple. What kind of a pussy do you think I am?
He seemed to think he could endure through sheer force of will. But... You don't look fine at all! I could hear my voice break, and tears had begun to well up in my eyes. I wrapped my arms around Okita and held him tight. You go, girl! What was I going to do? Okay, yeah, so we've had... I'm gonna save, just in case, but I'm pretty sure we had this dilemma already with Heisuke in the first game. And, if the intro to this game was any indication, blood is the answer to all of your problems, so... It's time to go full vampire romance, boys and girls. Let's do this. If I remembered what Kaoru said correctly, by making Okita drink demon's blood, we may be able to undo some of the symptoms that came with drinking the water of life. Dr. Matsumoto, on the other hand, had his doubts. But I don't have the luxury to choose my methods. I drew out my Kodachi and put it to my wrists. Nice. Ouch. There was a brief moment of pain, and then a line of blood welled up along the cut.
Chizuru, what the hell are you...
Please drink this. I held out my arm to him and his eyes widened. I make it quick because the cut will heal quickly. Yep. By the time my arm reached him, the cut had already closed, but the blood still sat there on top of the smooth skin. I heard that my blood could counteract the poison on the water of life. Maybe he was influenced by the scent of blood. His eyes showed signs of famine. I don't know if what Kaoru told me was true, but if I could, even for a moment, be able to quench his thirst. I just want to help you. So please. Oh, it worked. He said nothing as he moved his face toward the blood shining on my arm. When he was close enough that I could feel his breath rushing across my skin, his mouth opened and he ran his tongue across my arm. How sensual. The vigor behind the movements of his mouth made for a tingling sensation, taking with it my blood. Sorry. His voice was low and almost embarrassed. I blinked in surprise. I couldn't ever recall a moment where I'd heard his voice speak so weakly. I shook my head. There's nothing for you to apologize for. Yeah, well, maybe. Still, I'm sorry. He looked down at the floor, his face strained. It almost looked as though he'd been scolded by Kondo. Although he was still pale, it looked as though the bloodlust had subsided. Just a couple drops, huh? Whoa. Whoa! Alright. His hair and eyes returned to their normal color. You really should rest now. That would be the best way for you to recover.
Right, got it. Sorry. And thanks for everything.
I just told you that you have nothing to apologize for, didn't I?
Right. Well, good night then.
And now he's a lump under the blanket. Okita nodded obediently and he crawled back under his covers. Maybe we have power over him now. It's just like, go and rest. Okay. Good night, Okita. Please don't hesitate to call for me if you need anything. I could see how much pain he was in and my heart went out to him. He clearly expressed that he didn't want to drink any blood, but at least his suffering had subsided, even if it were just a little bit. I was left to ponder the possibility. Could we truly cure the curse of the Fury with my blood? For now, my only option was to monitor his progress, but... The next day, Okita seemed to be healing at a much more rapid pace. Well, that's a good sign that Kaoru was telling the truth. I didn't know what Kaoru's intentions were, but for now, I'm going to just be thankful of Okita's recovery. Maybe it's no fun to beat your rival if he's sick. Wow, what a beautiful transition page. February of 1868. Ah, that bath was exactly what I needed. The warmth of the bath made the gentle chill of the cool night air all the better, and so I couldn't help but express myself aloud. Nice. There were so many things weighing my mind down. But as of recently, Okita's physical condition was beginning to improve. He could walk more regularly. Nice! Of course, we still had to monitor him closely, for his sake, and make sure he didn't strain himself, but... even so, the simple pleasure of his improving state brought me great delight. Nice. I was walking down the hallway when...
Cut it out!
Ah! A loud voice exclaimed from the direction of Okita's room, and it startled me. The voice belonged to... Yamazaki? I wonder what could have happened. Fearing the worst, I rushed over to the room. Guys, what's happening?
Hey, Yamazaki, how many years has it been since you joined the Shinsengumi? I don't think even the new recruits would be stupid enough to yell at a captain.
If I may, I acknowledge that I may have behaved out of line just now. However, since you are a captain after all, you should know better than anyone to uphold those standards.
The tension in the room was palpable, and neither side looked like relenting. What's going on?
What are you saying? You want me to act all hoity-toity like Hijikata? Is that it?
The least I can ask is that you refrain from neglecting Dr. Matsumoto's orders.
Well, I know my body more than anyone else. My tuberculosis is gone, so there's no more reason for me to be bedridden.
But what I'm saying is, how can you make that decision without the doctor's approval?
You guys? Please, calm down. I don't think I've ever seen Yamazaki get that angry before.
I am calm. It's Yamazaki over there who needs to calm down.
I am only the messenger.
Keeping things civil was only slightly more difficult than trying to make friends out of a cat and a dog. It was no secret that Okita and Yamazaki just didn't get along with one another. So what happened?
You wouldn't believe this. I leave him alone for 1 second, and what does he do? I see him outside training.
Souji! Souji being Souji. What? Really?
Well, if I stayed in bed all day, then I'd get rusty. You never know when my troop will need me back out there, so I need to stay sharp.
See what I'm saying? Please, can you try talking some sense into him?
So I can either side with Okita or side with Okita. I like that that's my choice. I'm not gonna be rude to the bean, though. I'm gonna be peaceful about this. Look, I guess I understand where Okita is coming from. I understand where Okita is coming from. Okita had been confined to bed rest ever since he'd been wounded in the Battle of Toba Fushimi. So, even though the situation was frustrating, but still, it's even more reason for you to focus on resting until you're completely healed. You make it sound so easy. I refuse to stand aside like some sick, pathetic animal like I did during the Battle of Toba Fushimi. Besides, I don't even know if I can trust Yamazaki to tell me when the next battle is anyway.
Are you implying that I would lie to you?
I wouldn't put it past you to lie if it suits you, especially if it's an order from Hijikata. Okita, can't you see that Yamazaki is genuinely concerned about you, Okita? The hell he's not. He's just here to babysit me because Hijikata and Dr. Matsumoto tell him to. Okita. I like that we're basically husband and wife, and she's like, dear, that's enough. No. I do love their interaction. It's like one of the highest of my favorites as far as her interaction with one of the guys. She's always like, stop it. And he's like, I don't wanna. No, you stop it right now. Meh. And then he just pouts. It's great. What? Oh, sorry. Was that too far? Okita was acting like a petulant child, throwing his toys out of the pram. Yep. I stayed quiet, watching him gesture angrily, but all I could muster in response was a long-suffering sigh. Chizuru, I thought you were on my side. Of course I'm on your side, Okita. But that is more of a reason for me to want the best for you, and that includes not overexerting yourself. If you were to push yourself too far before you'd fully healed, and it affected your sword technique, wouldn't it be you who'd regret it most? Okita turned away from me, falling silent as he bit into his lip. Then he turned once more, looking me dead in the eye. Tell me one thing, would ya? Huh? Do you think the Shinsengumi still needs me? Am I still useful to the Shinsengumi? To Kondo? I could sense a slight hesitation in his voice. Of course they still need you. Which is the reason why it's so important for you to give yourself the time you need to rest. Okita seemed to hold on to what I had said internally for a few seconds, turning the words around in his head before he finally sighed and relaxed himself. There's a good boy. All right. Roger that. Guess I'll do as you say. I just have to put all my energy into getting better, so that I can go all out in the next battle. I never ever want to experience how useless I'd felt when they needed me most ever again. Okita's emphasis on the word useless made me feel uneasy. This had been something I'd noticed, but why was Okita so obsessed with the idea of being useful to the Shinsengumi? Even if he were unable to fight with his sword again, I didn't think either Kondo nor Hijikata would ever consider Okita useless.
In any case, Okita, it is imperative for you to focus solely on recovering from your injuries. If this is something to which you cannot commit, then I will have no problems reporting today's incident to the commander.
Damn. Yamazaki is like... He's just going hard. He's like, I am in charge here. I love it. As soon as he made his point, Yamazaki curtly left the room without another word. Yamazaki is so kind, she says. I mean, he's not a dickhead, but I wouldn't go so far as to call him kind. Mm-hmm. No, he's a good person. I know he's stationed here under Hijikata's orders, but... even still, I think he truly does care for your well-being. Honestly, he has no business worrying about me. Don't be like that. Okita slumped back into a sulky mood, and he blew air through his lips jokingly. Okita, it's getting pretty late. Why don't you turn in for the day? What, already? Can't I stay up just a little longer? You complain about being treated like a kid, and then you're like, please just 5 more minutes. I love this kid. He's great. You can't. Right now, your focus is on getting better. Fine. Jeez, you're such a tight ass. Okay, tell you what. I'll turn in on one condition. What condition? Okita grinned mischievously and he peered directly into my eyes as he slowly zoomed forward. I could tell that he was up to something as he walked one step at a time in my direction. What was going on? I was so taken aback by this behavior that my palms became sweaty and my heart skipped a beat. Uh-huh. Since you're here, mind laying down next to me? What? What does me being here have anything to do with that? That's not a funny joke. That dead-eyed expression. You're so dense. Normally, you would have caught on. Huh? I hadn't the faintest idea what he was trying to get at, but Okita blushed, turning away in embarrassment. What I'm getting is that I want to, talk to you for a little bit longer. Talk? With me? You got a problem with that? Well, no, but I was completely thrown off guard. I didn't anticipate Okita, of all people, to say such a thing. The Okita with whom I was familiar with had only ever expressed a sensitive side with Kondo. So, naturally, it didn't ever occur to me that he'd ever really cared about what I had to say, let alone want to have a conversation with me. Did you have a change of heart? Do you think I'm being funny with you right now? It's nothing like that, it's just... Okita sighed, frustrated by my inability to get an immediate read of the situation. Can you blame her? You've been threatening to kill her for, like, years, man. Look, how clearly do I have to spell this out for you? Huh? Clearly. Aw, the blush. What I'm saying is, I get pretty lonely by myself, so I want you to keep me company. Oh. At last I'd realized what Okita was getting at. It seemed like what Okita had wanted to hear was... I'll be by your side until you fall asleep. Don't force yourself. You don't want to be with me, right? I'm sorry if I made you feel that way. Everything's fine, so please don't worry about me. Okita exhaled and he finally seemed to relax. He smiled kindly and then he began to run his fingers through my hair? How close are you? My hair? That's so. Guess I can't hold it against you then. He coolly grazed my bangs with his fingers, and as the tip of his finger touched my skin, my heart skipped. I wonder why I find so much comfort in your company. Thanks, Chizuru. His peaceful voice had my heart in a vice grip, and with every word he spoke, my chest tightened. Okita slowly lifted the duvet up to his chest, and eventually he dozed off, but for some reason I couldn't leave him so soon. Back when Okita was irritated at himself for not being able to fight with his health as a concern, his mind always jumped to worries about no longer serving as the Shinsengumi's sword, or no longer being of use to Kondo. But now... Okita. He consumed the water of life and became a fury, which meant he could once again fight in battle. However, between his playful banter and sass, he let his true emotions slip through the cracks at times. Of course, one would normally have reservations about someone who became inhuman, so to speak. I'll do everything I can for you. As long as Okita could find comfort in my presence, even just a little, I'll always be here for him. His timid request helped me realize this.